Hi, I'm Jim, and this is my story. I was involved in Young Life as a high school kid. Starting in my freshman year, got involved in Young Life. Really had a neighbor introduce the organization to my mom. We were new to Cherry Hill, New Jersey, where we had just moved. And everything about Young Life just was awesome to me. Partly it was there were some girls that were awesome to be there, and said, I might as well check this out, Mom. And so I went to Young Life. But I came to know Christ through Young Life on a winter weekend at Harvey Cedars down at the shore at Long Beach Island. Just really was captivated by the message of the gospel and the way that the gospel was presented, and made my decision to follow Christ right there on a cold December Saturday night under the stars in Harvey Cedars. Fast forward a bunch of years, my oldest daughter, Hope, was getting ready to go into middle school, and I started trying to figure out if there was Young Life nearby. I reached out to my old Young Life leader, Jim Cunningham, and he came right up. He was still on Young Life staff, drove up on his motorcycle, and he was like, well, we don't have it in your community, but this is how Young Life gets started. Somebody like you can bring it to your community. So I started getting involved, trying to see if I could get Young Life started where we were living out in Denville and Morris County. There was a girl on one of our camp trips, and she was in my wife's cabin, and she kept getting really angry after hearing the club talks, and she kept saying, where does he get these stories from? She'd never been to church, and she had never heard any of the stories from the Bible, and so she thought it was made up. She didn't know where it was coming from. My wife was really patient with her, and one of the elements at camp, we have this high ropes course, and really she froze. Fear of heights, fear of trusting in all the people that were helping there, fear of the whether the bracket would hold her on the wire and that kind of thing, and just that whole journey through the ropes course became this analogy of the change that she needed to learn how to trust, and she needed to learn how to trust in the Lord, and what a great example it was, to take a step of faith and go off of the platform, stop hugging the tree and step out and trust that the wire would hold her, that God would provide for her and protect her. So that was a really big moment for her. I think prayer for the next generation, especially thinking of kids now during pandemic, looking for hope in a world that has become harder and harder to find truth. I was really taken recently. I've been reading through Ephesians over the past week or so, and I was really taken by the fact Paul prays. He says over and over that he's praying that they might come to know God more, and I was really struck by that prayer and praying that for the students in our ministry. Our mission is to introduce adolescents to Jesus and help them grow in their faith, and what a great way to kind of enhance that, to say this is the journey, and Paul says in Ephesians that you might know how deep and wide and long and high is the love of Christ. And so my prayer over the next generation, over our brothers and sisters here at Bethlehem, would be that we would all come to know Christ more and know the fullness of him. I would say the good news of the gospel is that we have a God that loves us so much, that demonstrates his love for us in that he gave his son Jesus, that even while we were still sinners, we didn't have to be good enough. We didn't have to clean up our act. We didn't have to strive to earn our salvation. the Bible tells us that God demonstrates his love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. I think that would be the good news of the gospel.